Alrighty, sixth graders. So today we are going to be looking at lesson 17. We're going to be talking about some divisibility tests. So ways to figure out if a number is divisible by certain other numbers. We're specifically going to be looking at 3 and 9, but we're going to talk about some different numbers. So I want you to take a look at the opening exercise, and I want you to look at the numbers. There are 10 numbers: 24, 36, 80, 115, 214, 360, 975, 4,678, and 414,940. And I want you to take a look at the circles: 2, 4, 5, 8, and 10. I want you to write the numbers into the circles that have the number that it's divisible by. So if 24 is divisible by 2, you're going to write it in that 2 circle. If it's also divisible by 4, you'll write it in the 4. If it's also divisible by 5, you'll write it in the 5. So I want you to pause the video and take a second and go through those very quickly now. So now that you've written down all of the numbers in the circles that they correspond to, take a look and check your answers. If you need to pause, this would be a great time to do so. So next we're going to take a look at the divisibility rules for some different numbers. So the first number we're going to look at is 2. So our divisibility rule for 2 is if the last number is divisible by 2. Sorry, it's not just divisible by 2, is divisible by 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. Another way we can think about this is if the number is even. So if a number is even, it is divisible by 2. Our divisibility rule for 4, our last 2 numbers make a number that is divisible by 4. So for example, if we had 316, we'd look at our last 2 numbers, 1, 6, that makes 16, and 16 is divisible by 4, so 316 would be divisible by 4. Our divisibility rule for 5 means that, or is that the last number is 0 or 5. So the last number has to be a 0 or a 5 for the number to be divisible by 5. Our divisibility rule for 8 is very similar to our rule for 4. The last 2 numbers have to make a number that's divisible by 8. And our divisibility rule for 10 is our last number is 0. So with some of these numbers, or with some of these divisibility rules, numbers can be divisible by more than one number. So if we look at our divisibility rule for 10, if something's divisible by 10, if we look at our rules, it's also going to be divisible by 5 and also divisible by 2. It could potentially also be divisible by 8 and by 4. So if we had a number like 80, it would be divisible by all 5 of those numbers. If we have a number that is divisible by 8, so say like 424 is divisible by 8, it is also going to be divisible by 4. But it doesn't always go in the opposite way. Just because something's divisible by 4 does not mean that it's divisible by 8. But if something is divisible by 8, then it is also divisible by 4. So decimal numbers with fraction parts do not follow these divisibility, that is a hard word to say, the divisibility tests, so just keep that in mind. But the rules that we're going to be talking a little bit more about are our divisibility rules for 3 and for 9. So for 3, when we add all the digits, the sum is divisible by 3. And similarly for 9, when we add all the digits, the sum is divisible by 9. And if you want these kind of divisibility rules written out or typed out in a little bit neater fashion, maybe a little bit more kind of written out for you, take a look on Canvas. There is an announcement titled 6th Grade Math Divisibility Rules, and I have all of these rules typed out there for you as well. So let's take a look really quickly at example 1. We're going to change kind of these directions. We're going to take this part off. And we're just going to look at that number 378. So in order to determine if this number is divisible by 3, we're going to add each of the digits together. So we have 3 plus 7 plus 8. And that gives us 18. And we know that 18 can be divided by 3. Right? 18 is going to be divisible by 3. We also know that 18 is divisible by 9. So there, it is divisible by both 9 and 3. So I'm going to make myself a little box. So yes, it's divisible by 3, and yes, it's divisible by 9. Similarly to the 8 and the 4 rule, or how if something's divisible by 8, it's also divisible by 4. If something is divisible by 9, it is also divisible by 3. So a trick that was shown to me during class today is that if you look at 18 and you think, you know, I'm not really sure if 18 is divisible by 3, you can add those two digits together, so using those same divisibility rules, to get 9. And we know that 9 is divisible by 3. So then we can find out that it is in fact divisible by 3. Let's take a look at the next page. We're not going to get through all of these. We'll go through maybe 2 of them. So we're going to take a look at number 1. So it's asking you to circle all of the numbers that are factors of the given number. So we have 2,838. So I'm going to highlight these out really quick, just so, because I'm going to color code everything. So I'll do blue, green, and red. So in blue, we're going to look at if it's divisible by 3. So to determine if something is divisible by 3, that's weird, where did my red go? To determine if something's divisible by 3, we have to add all of our digits together. So we're going to add 2 plus 8 plus 3 plus 8, which is going to give me 2 plus 8 is 10, plus 8 is 18, plus 3 is 18, 19, 20, 21. So 21 I know is divisible by 3, right? 3 times 7 is 21. So I can think of this, 3 times 7 equals 21. So yes, 3 is divisible, or 2,838 is divisible by 3. If I'm not quite sure, I can add 2 and 1 together. I get 3. I know that it's divisible by 3 that way. Next, we'll look at 9. So we're going to add all of those numbers together. 2 plus 8 plus 3 plus 8 gives us 21. And 21 is not divisible by 9, right? We can't divide 21 evenly by 9. So 2,838 is not divisible by 9. And finally, let's look at 4. So remember our rule for 4 is we look at our last two digits, which is 38. And 38 is not divisible by 4. We cannot divide 38 evenly by 4. So 2,838 is only divisible by 3 from those numbers. So let's look at number 2. So we have 3,415. I'm going to do kind of the same thing. I'm going to highlight my numbers, so I'll look at them in different colors. So we have 34,515, and we're going to decide, is it divisible by 3, is it divisible by 9, is it divisible by 5? So let's start with 3. So we're going to add all of our digits together. 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 1 plus 5. So 3 plus 4 gives me 7. And then I have 5 plus 5, that gives me 10. 10 plus 7 is 17, plus 1 gives me 18. 18 is divisible by 3. So because 18 is divisible by 3, that tells us that 34,515 is divisible by 3. Then we can look at 9. And again, remember 9 is very similar. We have 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 1 plus 5, which equals 18. If we divide 18 by 9, we get 2, so that is divisible by 9. So 34,515 is divisible by 9. And our last number is 5. So we're going to look at our number 34,515, and we're looking at our very last number. If we see it 5 or 0, then the number is divisible by 5. Well, the last number is 5, so it is divisible by 5. So we're going to stop there. If you want to continue on and look at the rest of the problems as kind of some practice, you can, but you do not have to. Very quickly, I'm going to show you your independent practice, so let me pull that up really quick. So you have kind of a review of the threes rules. So find the sum of the digit. If the sum is divisible by 3, so is the whole number. If the sum is divisible by 9, so is the whole number. For number 1, you're determining is 32,643 divisible by both 3 and 9. And then the important part is why or why not. So if it is, tell me why. If it's not, tell me why not. So you can show me by adding up all of the digits. You can write it out in words, however you want. Numbers 2 and 3, you are circling the factors of the two numbers. 4 and 5 might be a little bit tricky, but you can do this. Number 4, you're writing a 3-digit number that is divisible by both 3 and 4. I want you to show how you know that it's divisible by both 3 and 4, so either write it out or show me with the rules. And number 5 is a 4-digit number. So again, that's important. 4 is a 3-digit number and 5 is a 4-digit number. 5, a 4-digit number that's divisible by both 5 and 9. And explain how you know that it's divisible by both of those numbers. Alrighty. So before I send you all off on your way, I have a secret word of the day for you. If you are like Sergeant Vance and I, and you were very excited about the release of Season 2, or the beginning of Season 2 of The Mandalorian on Disney+, then you will understand this word. If you are not, I'm sorry. Our word today is Mando. So Mando is kind of the shortened nickname version of what they call the main character of the show, Mandalorian. They call him Mando. So if you have any questions or you run into any problems while you're working, please let me know. I'm here to help, and I'm always happy to. Or you can contact Miss Sally. She's also happy to help. Hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all later.